Hey, Stanley.
All right. Hello again, Mickey and the world.
Oh, yeah, hello, world.
We have a topic today that I hope will be interesting. It's the subject is collecting. The opposite of which is, I guess, dispersing,
Discarding.
discarding. Yes, and it could be personal. It could be collective. We'll see what comes out of this. If you are a collector, well, you could collect anything. If you're really rich, you collect valuable artwork.
Yeah.
If you're not rich, you can collect tchotchkes, which I do. If you overdo the collecting, you become what's called a hoarder.
Oh, yeah.
So, where are you on that range?
On collecting or on how close I am to being a hoarder?
You choose.
I would say I definitely have more than my apartment should hold. I do like to collect. I'm not a hoarder. I've watched the show Hoarders many times. I'm not at that level. But yeah, I collect a lot. My dad is an avid collector, and I kind of became that way as well. I think that there's just something about the sentimentality of objects that that you find or buy or are given to you throughout your life. I don't collect anything in particular. Like I know some people, they collect baseball cards or stamps or rare coins or something specific. I don't collect anything specific. I collect things that have sentimental value to me. So maybe it's a ticket stub from the last time I saw a friend, or maybe it's a drawing that someone gave me of theirs, or sometimes it's like sometimes it's a piece of trash. Really, I have a broken beer bottle, the top of a broken beer bottle that I had painted on when I was maybe 18. And I remember so vividly when I made it, where my mental state was when I made it, why I was making it, and it's it's not a good piece of art. It's nothing special, and it's certainly more trash than not trash, but it has value to me for some reason, and so I keep it. And my dad is the same exact way, where if you go into his office at his home, he has a piece of his tie from his brother's wedding, or he has a piece of a bathrobe that he had when he was living in the city and he was dating somebody. He has like a piece of that, or he has old notes that he had written about scripts that he was studying or things. But they're just like they're time stamped, as memories in his life. And I think for me, especially someone who I feel like I don't have the best memory in the world, I think holding something that can physically bring you back to that space and that time, it's a good way to reconnect with experiences that you had in the past. And it's also, it's a way to remind you what's still valuable and what isn't anymore, how much you've changed. Sometimes I'll keep things because they matter to me. They mattered to me then, and I'll hold on to them until I pick it up one day and realize that I'm not the person that loved that thing anymore, and
Yeah.
that finally it's time to say, like, okay, I can get rid of this now. So it's also like a sort of a graph of your growth, or how you change as a person. I don't know. Those are my first thoughts. What about you? What do you collect? Why do you collect it?
I'm not a hoarder, although I do like to have stuff, and I have a lot of stuff around here. I certainly have a lot of photos. I love having photos.
Yeah.
Friends, family, including a few who are no longer with us. It's comforting to me to have those photos, to remember those people. And I think, generally speaking, collecting can be a comforting pastime. It's nice to be surrounded by things that have meaning to you, maybe meaning that would not apply to anybody else at all. I have a few things that were left to me from people who are gone, and I especially value those. They're wonderful things to have, not just photos, but actual pieces.
Can you name a few?
Yes, the the rooster up there.
That thing?
Can you put on the first shelf?
Oh.
The rooster.
Oh, here.
That
So everyone
rooster
can see
belonged
it.
to Arch, a good friend, and it was his boyfriend after he died who I said I really want something from Arch, and he said Arch loved that. He was a graphic designer, not surprising, so he gave me that.
This is Arch.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
it was.
cool.
Yeah.
That's written on the bottom. It says some place I can't pronounce, and then Portugal. Where's that place?
I don't know. I have trouble reading it.
Okay. Somewhere in Portugal,
Yeah.
June 4th. It doesn't say the year.
One of the little glass figures,
Which
the,
one?
the larger one,
Back there?
yeah, belonged to my friend Murray. Murray died, a good friend, died about 10 years ago. And his boyfriend gave me that. I think it's a beautiful piece.
This is really cool.
Yeah, it's quite handsome.
Do you think about Murray every time you see it? Let me ask you.
I think that's a good question. Yes,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah?
And then just general photos. The two fellas in the nice sport coats up there on the second shelf.
Oh, here.
Those two.
Do you mind if I pick it up?
Go ahead. Those are my Chicago friends, both gone now. And I took that photo. We were together on a trip in Spain. And I love the photo because I love them. And they just looked so good there. We were all out having dinner outside. So, collecting can be, it's, kids collect teddy bears and girls collect dolls.
Yeah.
And there is something comforting. If I were really rich, I would collect art. And even without being rich, I have collected a good number of pieces of art. They're sprinkled around the apartment. None of huge value, but they all mean something to me. And curiously, whereas some people like to change things around in their apartments or their houses, I tend not to. If you came here 15 years ago and came back today, it would look the same, except it might be either cleaner or less clean. Yeah. People are different. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your general take on collecting?
I think if you have the space, then I think collecting is great. I think sometimes it becomes a habit that isn't always so great, because it can freeze you in, overvaluing things to people.
I
and
agree.
whatnot.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think that there's a fine balance as to like what is worth keeping and what's not, and why. And I think that if you are an avid collector and if you do find value in things, then you need to constantly sort of give yourself a day to refresh and reassess everything that you have. Go through it regularly and constantly give yourself the opportunity, like, do I still need this thing? What is the value of it to me now? If I can't remember where I got it or what it came from, then that's an indication to me that I should get rid of it.
And there can be a certain satisfaction in getting rid of things too.
Oh yeah,
dispersing things. I find that very much true. If you live in an apartment, as many of us do, it's very easy to over-collect.
Yeah.
and suddenly your closet is bursting at the seams. And I insist, as best I can, on cleaning out those things every so often, and just that's it. You got to go.
Yeah.
Too much stuff.
Do you ever find something that you forgot that you had, and it kind of
Oh
comes
yes,
back?
sure.
Yeah.
I have a lot of shoes, for example, that I mean, it's an embarrassment because I must have 5 or 6 pair of good shoes in the days when I went out more, and they're hanging in the closet for no good reason. I think they would be happy to be somewhere else.
Yeah, you don't plan on
they
putting
could
them back
be useful. I think of my mother, and when she got older and got tired of just being a housekeeper, and I would say, "Wouldn't you like something for your birthday or your No, I don't want. You give me something else. It's one more thing I have to clean, one more thing to dust." And she made a good point there. You do reach a certain level. I have at least. I don't want much more. Thank you. It's good.
Yeah, it's funny because my dad, like I said, is a big collector of things. My mom's not at all. My mom has no attachment to objects really at all, and I'm kind of somewhere in the middle where I value my mom's lack of attachment to things, and also I can't help but love them like my dad does. Like I said, my dad's office is full, but he also has a bar area in the house, and the back of the bar is just filled with stuff, just things from his life. And I think that what I know he likes the most about it, and what I certainly like the most about my collections, is that when they're up on display, and it's like an organized clutter, every single thing is a conversation piece, and every single thing is a story. And anytime someone comes over and they say, "What's that?" you get to share a memory. And oftentimes it's a cool story. My dad lived a really interesting life, and every single thing on his bar and every single thing in his office is a 10-minute story about something that happened to him. So it's been like a really great way for me to be closer to my dad.
Sure.
Always, just even growing up, because when you're a kid, your parent's your parent. They're not your friend. And at some point, as you get older, your parents and you have this kind of crossroad where you decide, you'll always be my parent, but I don't need you to parent me quite as much anymore, and I would much rather invest into our friendship. And I'm very fortunate that both my parents are people that I would consider friends. Like, I like to hang out with my parents. But I think I got to love them as friends because of the things that my dad had, specifically my dad, because I got to know so much about him when he was my age, and every single thing I got to see it and hold it and feel it and see
He's
him
kept things
love it.
from way back then.
Oh yeah, he has things from when he was 6, 7, 8 years old. He has things all through his high school and college years. When he lived in New York City as an actor, he has all these things, and every one is just so, I don't know. I think that's what I value. Contrarily, my mom, I don't know if this is when it happened, when she became not much of a collector, but in my story of my mom, it's kind of when I think that it might have changed. Again, I don't know if she was ever really into it, but so my mom moved to New York from Ohio when she was in her 20s, and she left pretty much everything behind. And years and years later, my mom had asked her sister to bring a photo album of basically my mom's entire childhood that she hadn't seen in a really long time. And her sister brought it on the plane, and it got lost on the plane. And it was pretty much every photo that my mom had of her childhood. I think she has maybe 5 now. But she told me that on that day, she found out that it got lost and that she wasn't ever going to see them again. And she had this kind of choice to make for herself, where am I going to mourn the loss of all these photos? Am I going to be inconsolable and distraught about the fact that all of them are gone and I won't have those pictures and those memories to look back on? Or do I make a choice that none of those things mattered and that the memories are still there and the things are not imbued with any special power? If they're gone, I don't lose anything. And do I just detach myself from the value that I placed on them? And so I think she made that choice to just not care that they all got lost. And she said it was the best feeling. And ever since then, she just doesn't really care, but she loves throwing things away. Yeah. I don't know.
What about your girlfriend?
She's a bit of a hoarder. She's not a hoarder, but she definitely collects a lot of stuff that I wouldn't keep. A lot of clothes, a lot of she'll hold on to boxes that things came in just in case she can use the box again for something.
I've done that a little bit.
Yeah, and then you realize 10 years later that you still haven't used that box, and you're like, okay, I think I
Then
can
it's
get rid of this.
time to throw it out. Yeah.
Yeah. How about your brother? Was he a collector at all?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't remember. I remember that I saved a couple of things of his that were gifts. I have a scarf, a beautiful cashmere scarf that I bought for him for a birthday gift years and years ago, and I still have it. I never wear it, but I've kept it because it has some meaning for me. The other thing that I and I'm sure I'm not alone in this, collect are the magnets that attach to refrigerators. New refrigerators, very often you can't attach anything because they're not, whatever the word is, magnetized. I don't know.
Yeah, they're not magnetic.
But the one that I have is ideal, and it's covered with stuff. And they're all souvenirs of places where I've been. And there are a lot of them. It could be a whole painting, really, from here and out west and overseas, and yeah.
That's cool.
And I looked at those, and I think they're a little messy, but I liked them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, boy, I've been to a lot of places.
It's true. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And they are all really happy memories of places that I am glad to have gone to. And there they are, and they stick. They stick on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
It's
That's cool.
Kind of silly, but it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have oh, sorry, you go.
No, I'm done.
Do you have a favorite thing that you have collected, or things, or like group couple of things that, like, let's say here let me rephrase the question. If there was a fire and you could only grab a couple of things, ignoring technology, not your computer or your phone, but like you could only grab a couple of things, what would you grab?
One would be it's right up there. It's a book of A.A. Milne, When We Were Very Young, Christopher Robin, a book that was given to me when I was 6 or 7 years old
I have to find
by a family friend. It's a sort of beaten up old blue,
Oh, there it is.
faded blue,
Behind this.
and I love that book. As you can see, it's pretty well beaten up.
When were you given this?
When I
Oh
was
my
6 or
gosh.
7, and
Yeah.
I rated all the stories, all the poems.
You rated them?
That's right. I rated them.
Do you have a favorite?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
The bear.
The bear. Teddy bear?
I think so.
Teddy bear.
He was fat.
Page 85.
It's a wonderful book for kids. You can see it astonishes me that I still have that, because I've carried it with me, obviously, from age 6 or 7 all through my entire life, and is still here. So yes, if I were to flee in a fire, I would I would take that.
That's awesome.
And I rated them, as I said. Some were better, some were very good. Some somebody else thought was very good.
What does it make you think of when you see it?
It's comforting. It's comforting to think that I've had that book for so long. I've loved the poetry for so long. A. Milne is very famous, of course. He's published a lot of books. Pooh's Corner, Winnie the Pooh, all those. Christopher Robin. I think he had a son named Christopher Robin. And Christopher Robin comes up in his poetry. So, I don't know, it's just, sometimes collecting is comforting.
I agree. Some of the things that I have are just silly, but they mean a lot for no reason, until someone asks, and then the reason comes out.
Did you have a teddy bear when you were little?
I did. I still have it. I don't have it in my apartment.
You do have it.
Mm-hmm. I have a teddy bear.
What was the name?
I actually, it's funny. I didn't name him that I remember, but he wore a sweater. I guess I had outgrown a sweater, but it was a sweater that was knitted for me when I was a kid. And on it, it's a white sweater, or light green, and on it says Mickey. Oh. And the teddy bear wears that sweater. Oh. That was my sweater. So I think I just always called him Mickey because he had the Mickey sweater on.
Of course.
But yeah, he's a good bear. I still have him. He's at my parents' house. And I have a baby blanket still.
You do?
Also at my parents' house.
Wow.
It's in a little pouch now. It's a rag. It's gross. I think it had gotten thrown out once or twice, being confused as a dish rag. And I, tore through the trash to find it so I could have it back again.
Oh, yeah, I would too.
Yeah. It's funny the things we keep, But there is, to have objects from a time in my life that I don't have any memory of, 2 years old, 3 years old. Yeah. To know that I have that thing and see that thing in pictures with a little me that I don't even recognize because I wasn't, conscious really yet at that time. To see that I had that thing and to see that I still have it now does lend itself to a sense of resilience, I think.
I think it's great that you still have that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, yes.
It's fun.
And if you have a son one day, you'll pass it on, maybe.
The bear, the rag, I don't think no. Any kid has much use for it now, but I'll hold on to it.
Sure.
I'll definitely hold on to it. Yeah, I think, my dad's parents both died when he was pretty young. Like, he was 8 when his mom died, and I think maybe 22 or 3 or something when his dad died. And so I think he's an avid collector because of that in many ways. The objects that he has often are tied to people that are no longer with him. And something about having that object gives him the feeling of being near again.
Absolutely, yeah.
Stanley, let's see how far we are right now.
You folks who are listening and watching, I hope you're still there. Yeah. Sorry, my voice is still not 100% back, but I'm here in spirit. Well, happy holiday to our folks who are listening, and see you again next week.
Yeah, see you again next week.
Okay. Bye, Mickey.
Bye, Stanley. See you, everybody.